Erased Destiny. Chapter 9. Game of Shadows. After a full day's work, Merigold was as close to getting an emerald color as she was before breakfast. She supposedly used the right ingredients, supposedly did everything according to the instructions from the book, and out came the gray. Amanda silently watched her charge's attempts, and little could be inferred from her face. Merigold did not wonder about the woman's uncommon melancholy. She was too busy stirring in the cauldron. Tired of the lack of positive results, Merigold went out to air her head. From the fumes of boiling bark and sea algae, she was getting sick, and the end of summer heat only made it worse. Not only did emerald remain out of the girl's reach, for pale gold she had no concept at all. She decided to talk to the principal about changing the colors. So she headed to the House of Magic. She walked down the same street as usual, spotted him waiting at the gate from a few houses away. She was startled by an unfamiliar figure standing next to the girl. The man didn't look like a mage, let alone an adept, though he wore a rather elegant suit and walked unshaven. As she came closer, Merigold heard a conversation going on between them.
Dad forbade me to go out alone. I have to wait for Goldie.
But you won't go alone, but with me. Don't tease me.
Sorry, Uncle, but I can't. I am sure Goldie will be here soon, and then we can go.
The man reached for Um's hand, as if he wanted to pull the girl with him, and Merigold Poison Ivy stopped him.
Goldie, you are finally there. Uncle Jared takes us to the restaurant.
First, we need to see the mayor. Just for a moment, I need to tell him something very important. And then I am free to go out with you. Ume, your dress. You need to change it.
Umi looked at herself to see what was wrong with her outfit, but couldn't see anything out of order. Clearly annoyed, Jared tried to get rid of plant that separated him from Yum. The intention to kidnap Uma was almost written on the man's face. 40 years old, stocky build, brown hair and mustache, several days of stubble. The pale complexion of someone who drinks too much. Because Merigold didn't know how to handle the situation, Etienne replaced her.
Cocoon of death. Move away from him. He's the one who wanted to kidnap you. For ransom, of course. We will hand him over to your father.
Ivy strangled the man, preventing him from articulating words inappropriate to the ears of his minor niece. Ten considered whether handing Jared over to the mayor was the right thing to do. She showed the kidnapper in her memories. Uriel surely realized that the said Jared was his brother, and he did nothing.
Dad, we caught the kidnapper.
Really? Another kidnapper? What is happening to this city?
Everything is fine with the city, I hope. Please wait for me in your room.
No, I'm the one my uncle wanted to kidnap, so I want to understand why.
Etienne looked at the mayor, but the mayor did not ask his daughter out, so she continued speaking in the presence of the child.
Kidnapping with the intention of killing to become Uriel's heir. Intent to poison the mayor and his wife to take over their property.
You have no proof. Let me go, slut.
But I have plenty of evidence. Most of it in your head, and the rest in your house. A house that will soon be auctioned off for gambling debts. 20th of Sadney, if I'm not mistaken. May I kill him?
Uriel sat down on the stone floor. He struggled to catch his breath, as if he had suffered a heart attack. Etienne's golden irises described his condition as satisfactory, so the girl did not move from her seat. The drops of sweat that covered the mayor's face surprised Merigold more than Jared's hate-filled threats. The captive's thoughts were so intense that they filled the teenager's mind.
According to the law, a multiple murderer should be escorted to the Crystal Palace. I offer my humble services to see it done.
Multiple murderer? Jared? What is she speaking about?
He kidnapped children to extort ransoms to pay off his debts. And then he lost significant sums again, Again, he was threatened with forfeiture of property. Again, he kidnapped. And when someone didn't pay, the child didn't return home. Simple enough to be effective. If you want to see the evidence, I can summon those murdered children. I can point out their places of death and burial, describe the course of all these events.
Umi retreated to the stairs leading to her bedroom. Merigold's blackish aura frightened her more than the girl's spoken words. She didn't understand what was going on around her. Her father was sitting on the floor and did not have the strength to get up. He was shaking as if he had a fever. Uncle Jared was trying to pull himself out of the embrace of the ivy, suffocating him, and Merigold was smiling as broadly as if she had just passed a very difficult exam.
Cursed witch, you cannot prove anything. Talking to the dead, funny joke indeed.
Mistress of Death, at your service. So, Mayor, how would it be? Do you want me to kill Jared for all his crimes and save the good name of your family? Or should I escort him to the Crystal Palace? The lady would surely appreciate your cooperation here.
Tien bowed to the assembled people. Her irises turned black, and her cheeks turned pale, as if she had suddenly lost a lot of blood. Although she was not injured or even tired from the spells she had cast, Etienne swayed slightly from side to side. The thoughts and intentions of the people gathered in the room flowed through her mind. They formed a coherent picture of insights, misunderstandings, and tangled interests.
Wait, Merigold. We don't know yet if he is really guilty. He should be interrogated here first, in Cyntra. Then we decide what to do next.
Etienne laughed quietly. The mayor knew about the kidnappings, and he did nothing to stop his brother. He used his connections to climb the ranks of officialdom. They made a deal. As long as no one was killed, Jared had a free hand. But he had long since broken the terms of the deal, and Uriel didn't care to find out.
Are you sure, Mayor? There is a risk that Jared escapes from the jail here and seek revenge on you.
I am sure. That is my final decision. Please escort him to the courthouse. Thank you, Merigold, for your service.
Let it be as you wish. There is nothing he can do to me, but I am concerned about the innocent citizens of Cyntra. Maybe would you reconsider your decision?
Uriel said goodbye to his guest, so Etienne and Jared left. They walked towards the courthouse, when Etienne suddenly stopped.
I think we should kill him. Don't worry, it will look like a heart attack. Well, it will be the heart attack from physical point of view.
But why? The mayor told us to escort him.
The mayor wants to help him escape, to cover his own wrongdoings. And when Jared is free, he will kill many innocent people. I want to protect them. And you? Would you be able to sleep calmly knowing that he kills people somewhere? To know that you could prevent it from happening and did nothing?
But that won't be my responsibility. Uriel made such a decision and we only follow his orders. If we kill Jared now, Uriel will guess that it wasn't an accident. I won't be able to teach Ume anymore. Please, Etienne, let us do as the mayor decided.
Etienne was sure that Merigold's relationship with Ume has ended already. Merigold's knowledge about the darkest secret of their family was enough to cut all ties with her, possibly to try to silence her forever. She knew that they do the wrong thing, but did not press on Merigold. It was her life and her choices to make. And Etienne? Etienne felt safe, regardless the circumstances. There was no one that could threaten her. After finishing the job in the courthouse, Etienne went outside and walked towards the river. Only after several minutes of soaking her feet in the cold water did she regain her composure. She went back to being Merigold. When Merigold regained her inner balance, she returned to the dye house with the intention of continuing to work on obtaining the emerald color. The empty barrels puzzled her greatly.
What did happen?
Amanda was sitting in front of the house, looking at the sunset. She was quiet, sad, or happy, Merigold couldn't determine her mood.
I am leaving. To my daughter. I resigned from the assignment. It was far too much for our capabilities. I foolishly did not refuse right away. But you know how it is. I was tempted by big profits and ended up with a loss. I have long been carrying around the idea of quitting my job. I'm going to help my daughter with her grandchildren, relax in the countryside. So you need to look for another job. But that's not a problem, is it? Everyone is fighting over you.
Of course, I have a lot of orders. When should I move out?
Tomorrow, as if you could. Thank you, Merigold. You have been a great worker, really. I regret that we part under such circumstances.
Merigold entered the attic. Although it was hard to believe, she already missed her tiny room. She packed her bag, hid her money between her clothes, and put a black robe on top. When Uriel's assistant brought her a letter, she was first happy, then confounded. Uriel thanked her for her service, paid everything due, and asked her to not see him anymore. Merigold read the letter in silence. Why did it happen? She did everything as she was told to. After having lost her main source of income, with nowhere to live and nowhere to go, Merigold felt deeply sad. And for her miserable plight, she blamed Etienne, her bossiness and harsh words. Merigold lay down on the bed and intertwined her hands behind her head. She had one day to find a new job. A job that wouldn't involve teaching smug and self-convinced kids who had nothing but rich parents. Pillars allowed even the worst adepts to pass their exams, as long as he kept them in the school and collected tuition money from their parents. She did not claim that all students were rich misfits. Some, like Ume, really made an effort. Others had talent and, with a little effort, would also do well at the palace. But neither the former nor the latter needed Merigold's help. Pillars hoped that the girl would take care of the dull slackers and instill in them at least the theory. What he didn't anticipate was that no one would want to listen to 14-year-old limited to death spells. Hidden in shadows, Merigold slipped out of her room and set off through the strangely crowded streets. She looked for advertisements from potential employers, anything that would allow her to wait out the unfavorable period. She would have been happiest to apprentice with an herbalist, but she knew the woman had a set of apprentices. She remembered that there was a notice of vacancy hanging on the butcher's door and headed toward the market. She became curious about the sounds of play coming from the square. She stood off to the side, against the wall of one of the houses, and watched the colorful procession of dancers, acrobats, and players march by. She smiled to herself. For once, she was given the opportunity to take part in the city's nightlife. Staring at the torch jugglers' show, Merigold didn't notice a group of drunken boys heading her way. She hissed indignantly when one of them peered at her. Merigold ran away. She forgot that she was standing against the wall invisible, so the puffer simply couldn't see her. She dispersed the camouflage and crouched by the river to rinse her dress.
Can I help you?
No need, I am fine, thank you.
Are you lost?
No, really, I am perfectly fine.
She passed the man with an arc so that he did not grab her. She kept watching him, but the man did not follow her. He stood by the river and blubbered, as if holding back laughter. Only when Merigold's path was crossed by 3 stout peasants did she understand the reason for the man's amusement.
Why don't you come with us? We will walk you home, whole and healthy.
Merigold was afraid. She did not know what to do, and Etienne's thoughts did not appear in her head. Not a single idea for escaping the troublesome situation. In the last moment, Merigold teleported to the attic. She sat on the bed in her room the rest of the night. She was too shaken to fall asleep. She was afraid that they would find her at the dyer's and forcibly drag her out of the house. She was afraid that Etienne would disappear and never rescue her again. As dawn broke, Merigold picked up her things, said goodbye to Amanda, summoned her horses, and left Cyntra. She had had enough of the city and its horrors, enough of working beyond her strength, lack of free time, harassment, and general resentment. She decided to finally rest and discover Etienne's past. She wanted to know with whom she shares her body and how it happened, and whether the process could possibly be reversed, although Etienne's presence helped her more than it hindered her.